Hi everyone, we're going to find a function whose graph is given, and this is for sine and cosine. Now basically we have to write an equation. So in this first one here, 71, there's your center line right there. So my amplitude is 5. My period, that's where it makes a complete wave for cosine, and this is cosine, by the way. It starts here, it ends, a complete wave ends right there at 8 pi. So the period equals 8 pi. So we want to write, it's positive, so there's no reflection, so y equals 5 cosine of omega x. And to find omega, we know our period, which is t, is 8 pi. So we set our omega to find the total thing. This is 8 pi. To find our omega, we're going to write this as t equals 2 pi over omega. So my period is 8 pi. So let's write that. 8 pi, cross multiply. 8 pi, this is really 8 pi. I'll just change that. 8 pi omega equals 2 pi. So omega equals 2 pi divided by 8 pi, which equals 1/4. So my omega is 1/4. And I'll just put the 1/4 here. And there's your function. Okay, the next one is sine. We're doing this one. And our there's your center line. So our amplitude is 4. It's sine. It makes a complete wave from 0 to 8 pi. So that's 8 pi there. So my period is 8 pi. And we know the period is 8 pi. We're going to find our omega is 2 pi, divided by omega. So using substitution, right in there, we have 8 pi equals 2 pi over omega, cross multiply. And so it's just like the other one. So we have 2 pi over 8 pi, which equals 1/4. So you write your equation, or you find a function, y equals 4, this one's sine, 4 sine of 1/4 x. All right, the next one is this one. So this one, starting here, it's actually a reflection of cosine, because I could write it, if I write it this way, back up to here, I'm just reflecting my 6's basically. All right, so there that would be. So on 73, we know that it's reflected, and we know that it's cosine. And we know my period is 6, because you go up 6, down 6. So y equals 6, but since it's a reflection, we write negative. And then we write cosine, and then we just have to find the period. So the period is 8. So we go from 0, let's see if we can see it here. We're going from 0 to 8. So t equals 8, and we know our t equals 2 pi over omega. So we have 8 equals 2 pi over omega. So 8 omega, if you cross multiply, 8 omega equals 2 pi. So omega equals 2 pi over 8, which equals pi over 4. So our equation is going to finish up with omega, you put your omega here. This is pi over 4x. And then for the last one, 74, this one starts at the origin, so we know it's sine. It is a reflection, because usually it goes up to 7 here. That's your amplitude. Normally it goes like this. But since it's reflected over the x-axis, it's a reflection. So we know our amplitude is 8, and it is a reflection. And in this case, it's 0 to 8 again, just like this one was. So basically, we got 8 equals 2 pi over omega, and we're doing the same thing we did last time. 8 omega equals 2 pi, so omega equals 2 pi over 8, which equals pi over 4. So this is going to be cosine of pi over 4x. And that's all. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.